My husband and I are saving over $4,000 every year because of California's Proposition 19, and I'm going to share with you how we did it. But I'm also going to share with you the reasons why California's Prop 19 has some people jumping for joy while it has others crying tears of sorrow. Would you like me to start with the pros of Prop 19 first or the cons? I'm going to start with the bad news first because I think it's important to end this video on a positive vibration and leave you feeling hopeful. Hey there, I'm Lisa Kwashnick. I'm a realtor in the Sacramento area, and I teach people who have inherited real estate how to unlock the full potential of the inherited property and prosper. So let's dive in. Proposition 19 was approved by California voters in November 2020 and became effective the following year. It's an amendment to our California Constitution that limits those who inherit family properties from keeping the property tax base, but it also allows people over the age of 55, severely disabled, or victims of wildfire or natural disasters to transfer the assessed value of their primary home to their replacement home. First, let's take a look at how this impacts people who have inherited property. Proposition 19 allows heirs to retain the base year value of a property that was the principal residence up to $1 million benefit limit if the heir moves into the home within 1 year of the transfer. What the heck does that mean? I'll take us through a couple of examples. Feel free to pause and rewind because I know I can go through this a little fast. All right, let's say you inherited your parents' primary residence, and on the date that it transferred to you, the market value of the home was $750,000. And let's say the existing assessed value of the home was $300,000. And let's say you move into the property within a year of it transferring to you, and you file all of the necessary paperwork with the assessor's office, letting them know that you've made this home your primary residence. You then take the current assessed value of $300,000, add the $1 million benefit limit, and because that number of $1,300,000 is greater than the market value of $750,000, you receive the same savings as you would have prior to Prop 19, but only because you made it your primary residence. I can hear you asking me, but what if I don't want to move into my parents' house? Listen, I get it, but just know that as soon as the property transfers, it triggers a reassessment, and you'll just want to calculate that in when you're making decisions on what to do with the property that you've inherited. Now let's take a look at an example of a property that's valued over $1 million at the time of transfer. Let's say you inherit your parents' principal residence that had a market value of $1.5 million at the date of transfer. And let's say its assessed value was $250,000. You then take the assessed value of $250,000, add the $1 million limit, which equals $1,250,000, which is less than its market value. The new assessed value would then be the market value of $1.5 million less the $1,250,000 plus the current assessed value of $250,000 for a new assessed value of $500,000. And in this scenario, you would still need to make the property your primary residence in order to get the tax savings. Prior to Prop 19, there was no $1 million maximum benefit, and you would have retained the $250,000 assessed value without an adjustment. And I want you to keep in mind, if you ever decide to move out of the property and turn it into a rental, from the date you move out, the property no longer qualifies for the homeowner's exemption or exclusion, so it would be important to calculate the tax increase before making any decisions about what to do with the property. We covered what happens when you inherit your parents' principal residence, but what if they owned a commercial property or a vacation home or a rental property? Under Proposition 19, these properties don't qualify for exemptions or exclusions. The properties would be reassessed assessed, likely resulting in higher property taxes. The Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association started an initiative to repeal this part of Prop 19 that impacts those of us who may inherit real estate. And I know they are working hard to get this on the ballot this November. You can always visit their website to learn more, and I'll post a link in the description below. Let's move on to the part of Proposition 19 that has allowed my husband and I to save over $4,000 every year. In 2019, Jim and I bought a home in Stockton that was supposed to be an investment property, but to keep this story short, we decided to move into it and it became our primary home. 3 years later, we had an opportunity to buy a house in Fair Oaks and move back to the Sacramento area. Because Jim was 55, we were able to transfer our tax base from San Joaquin County to Sacramento County with an upward adjustment for the difference, saving us over $4,000 a year. Here's an example of how this works. Let's say you sell your original home on August 1st for $500,000, and sometime within a year, you purchase your replacement home for $700,000. And let's say the assessed value of your original home was $250,000. The new assessed value of your replacement home is $250,000 plus $700,000 minus $525,000. The reason it's $525,000 and not $500,000 is because the original home is required to be adjusted by 5% if the replacement home was purchased within 1 year after the sale of the original, and 10% if it's within the 2-year time frame. Prior to Prop 19, your replacement home either had to be located in the same county, or there were a handful of counties in California that would have allowed the transfer of property taxes. I want to say out of the 58 counties in California, there were 10 that allowed an inter-county ordinance. There were also restrictions on the value of the replacement property. Your replacement property had to be equal or lesser value than the home that you were selling. And you were only allowed to do this once in your lifetime. With Proposition 19, your replacement home can be anywhere in California. It can be any value, but just note, if your replacement home value is above 100% of your current home, that amount is added to your transferred value. And you could do this up to 3 times in your lifetime with no limit for disaster victims. Also, the transactions can be in any order as long as they happen within a 2-year time frame. This means that you could buy your replacement home first, sell your current home a year later, and as soon as that replacement home becomes your primary residence, you can apply for the transfer. This transfer benefit is available for people 55 and over, the severely disabled, and victims of wildfire or natural disaster. I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can find more information about Proposition 19. Sometimes when you start researching these things, you end up with more questions than answers. I certainly did in the beginning. And if you have any questions about how this may impact you and your specific situation, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you find solutions. Remember, you can always rewind this video and look at those examples again, and consider giving this a thumbs up if it was helpful. I'll see you in the next video.